Iran just put a price tag on the Strait of Hormuz, $1 for every barrel of oil that passes through.
20% of the world's oil supply moves through that water.
And they don't want dollars.
They want Bitcoin. So here's how it actually works. Every tanker captain approaching the strait gets a payment demand, a wallet address linked to the Iranian government, $1 per barrel of oil on board. No bank involved, no intermediary, just a Bitcoin transaction, or you don't pass.
And the reason is almost embarrassingly simple. Iran has been under some version of U.S. sanctions since 1979. They've been cut off from SWIFT, that's the messaging system banks use to move money internationally. They can't hold dollar reserves, they can't settle trades through any of the normal channels. So when you're designing a toll system and you need a currency that no government on Earth can freeze mid-transaction, there's really only one option.
Which is the thing Bitcoin people have been saying for 15 years. Censorship-resistant money, permissionless settlement. It always sounded ideological, like a philosophy more than a product.
And now it's a shipping invoice.
Right, the Strait of Hormuz is about 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, and the shipping lanes are even tighter than that. About 20 million barrels of oil pass through it every single day. So at $1 a barrel, Iran just created a Bitcoin revenue stream of roughly $21 million a day, assuming full compliance.
That assumption is doing a lot of work because the ships passing through are flagged to dozens of different countries. Some of them are American allies. Some of them are insured by Western firms. The question isn't whether Iran wants this. The question is whether tanker operators actually pay.
And the early indication is that some of them are paying, because the alternative is rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope, which adds weeks and millions in fuel costs. The math is brutal, $1 a barrel or an extra 12,000 nautical miles.
And the part that keeps Treasury officials up at night, once this works for one choke point, every contested waterways, contested borders, contested airspace all start demanding payment in something no third party can block.
The dollar's power was never just about trust. It was about plumbing. And once other choke points see these pipes work, nobody's going to ask for permission to install their own.
Meta is building an AI version of Mark Zuckerberg. Not a chatbot with his name on it, a replica trained on his voice, his mannerisms, his actual strategic thinking, so employees across the company can sit down and have a conversation with a synthetic version of their CEO.
So instead of trying to get 15 minutes on Zuckerberg's calendar, you open an app and talk to something that sounds like him, reasons like him, and knows what he'd prioritize.
That's the pitch, the founder who still has time for everyone, except it's not him.
And there's a version of this that's genuinely useful. You're an engineer on a small team, you're trying to figure out whether your project aligns with where the company is headed. Right now, you read internal memos, maybe watch an all-hands recording. This would let you ask direct questions and get answers shaped by how Zuckerberg actually thinks about trade-offs.
But then you hit the part that gets strange, because the AI isn't just parroting public statements. Meta is training it on private strategic reasoning, the stuff Zuckerberg says in closed rooms, which means the model has to represent his real opinions, not his polished ones.
And those might conflict. What happens when the AI says something Zuckerberg wouldn't have said publicly, or when it gives two different employees contradictory guidance because the prompt context was slightly different?
There's also a weirder question underneath all of this. If 70,000 people start treating a synthetic Zuckerberg as a proxy for the real one, adjusting their projects, changing their priorities based on what it tells them, does the AI start making decisions for the company? Not officially, but functionally.
You build a copy of the founder so people feel closer to leadership, and the copy becomes the leadership they actually interact with.
Which means the question isn't whether the AI is accurate enough, it's whether Zuckerberg himself will still recognize the company the copy is shaping.
So there's a case working through federal court right now where the FBI recovered Signal messages from an iPhone. Signal, the app people specifically choose because messages are encrypted end-to-end, meaning only the sender and receiver can read them.
And the person had done everything right by Signal standards. They turned on disappearing messages, which automatically deletes conversations after a set time. Then they deleted the entire app from their phone.
None of it mattered. The FBI got the messages anyway.
Because they didn't break Signal's encryption. They didn't need to. iPhones have this database buried in the operating system called the notification store. Every time any app sends you a push notification, that little banner that pops up on your lock screen, iOS logs it, the text of the notification, the timestamp, which app sent it.
And it keeps those records in a SQLite file, basically a small, self-contained database, like a spreadsheet your phone never throws away, that persists even after the app is gone.
So Signal encrypts the message in transit, it arrives on your phone decrypts it to show you the notification, and then iOS just quietly writes the content into this separate log that Signal has no control over.
Which means even if Signal wanted to protect you, it literally can't reach that part of the phone.
Right. The app can wipe its own sandbox, the little walled-off area of storage that iOS gives each app to play in, but the notification database belongs to the operating system. It's Apple's territory.
And standard forensic tools can read it. This isn't some classified NSA capability. Celebrite, a phone cracking toolkit that thousands of police departments already have on the shelf, can pull these records.
So the encryption worked perfectly, the disappearing messages worked perfectly, and it didn't matter because the phone itself was keeping a second copy that nobody thinks about.
Which raises a question most people have never had to ask. What else is your phone remembering that no app you installed told it to forget?
This past summer, AI systems solved 5 out of 6 problems at the International Math Olympiad, a competition built for the best teenage mathematicians on the planet.
And that was apparently the thing that got research mathematicians to actually start paying attention.
Not the chatbots, not the coding tools, a competition score.
What they found when they started using these systems wasn't just puzzle solving, genuine new mathematical results, proofs that used to take months done in a single day.
And math isn't like biology or engineering. There's no physical world to anchor it. Pure logic all the way down.
And if AI is pulling its weight at that frontier, the question of what field is actually out of reach starts to feel a lot less settled.
The SEC spent most of 2024 publicizing a record $8.2 billion crackdown on crypto, made it a centerpiece of how they talked about the industry.
And has now published a report calling that same crackdown a mistake.
Their own report about their own enforcement strategy.
The phrase they used was headline chasing, dropped 7 active cases alongside it.
The agency that wrote the rulebook just said the rulebook was wrong. For anyone building in crypto or investing in it, that's not a small thing. The entire regulatory posture just shifted.
The question is whether this is a genuine reset or just a pause while they figure out what comes next.
April 13, 2029. Market. An asteroid called Apophis, 370 meters across, been flying through space since before humans existed, passes closer to Earth than some of our own satellites.
Visible to the naked eye in the actual sky, moving.
Nothing this size has come this close in all recorded human history.
Space agencies are already planning to have spacecraft flying alongside it as it passes, studying it in real time.
For a long time, Apophis was on the list of rocks that could actually hit us. It's not anymore. The math is clear.
But it will come close enough that the gravitational pull of Earth will physically reshape its orbit.
4 years away. Hackers claim they got inside the computer systems running Venice's flood pumps, the ones that protect St. Mark's Square.
And say they could have triggered flooding, but didn't.
City officials ran checks, thought everything was clean.
It wasn't. The access was still there, hidden while the checks were happening.
So there's a moment where the people responsible for the system believed they were safe, and they were wrong, and they had no way of knowing they were wrong.
A cyber attack that caused actual flooding in one of the most photographed cities on Earth would have been a different kind of news story entirely.
The gap between a compromised system and a flooded square is just a decision someone made.
Tomorrow's already full.
It usually is by now.
Something will happen tonight that changes what we planned to say.
It always does.
We'll be back.
See you then.
I'm Knox. Every Saturday on Pulse Deep Dive, one story, the history, the present, and what comes next. Find it wherever you listen.
Singularity Pulse is for informational purposes only. Nothing here is financial, legal, or professional advice. Views expressed are our own.